Hi everyone, today I want to run through a very quick mobility drill. And it's really just focusing on ankles, hips and sort of midsection, lower back and things. It's nothing complicated. It's something I've been promising for a while and I hope nobody's very disappointed in the simplicity of it after such a long wait. But I reckon keep things simple because you're more likely to adhere to it if it's something that's not too complicated. For me, my opinion on foam rollers is that yes, they can be a good thing for sort of increasing mobility and stuff, but I prefer using exercises that, you know, you've no excuse. You can't say, oh, I forgot my foam roller, I can't do it. So there's really no excuses because obviously you have your body weight everywhere you go, and especially if you're in the gym and you're wanting to start your main workout, adding these things in beforehand if you're wanting to improve your squat, your deadlift, anything at all that you're working on lower body, then I would recommend doing this sort of drill beforehand. It's very simple and I'm sure there's loads of other ones out there that are probably better, but this has been working for me over the last while. Considering that I never did any mobility stuff, this is easy enough for me to add in and it's not going to take up all day sort of thing and put me off because it's too time consuming and too boring. So I think that's often a barrier that we face with warm-ups and mobility, is that it is pure boring and there's no way around it. So hopefully keeping things simple and not sort of going overkill is a great way to sort of make it doable. So I'm going to run through a few basic exercises. Really, for me, this is sort of personally, I've had issues with my SI joints, so that's why I'm really focusing on mobilising the spine in all its intended directions. We often get stuck in this sagittal plane where we're, you know, obviously doing your squats, your deadlift, keeping that sort of neutral spine. And what often happens then is we lack sort of lateral flexion and also any rotational properties within the spine, especially the lower part of the back. So really I'm trying to increase the range of movement and then get stronger in those movements. So I add in some of those movements during my warm-up and I found that it's really helped my SI issues. And also it's important to not load them too soon, so get the mobility there first of all and then get stronger in the movements. And I don't want to waffle on too long because I just want to show you very quickly the exercises that I do. So remember, I've already done my general warm-up, so I should be pretty supple. So what I do is I go back to my ankles, I start from the ground up and I just work on tilting my foot out to the side very slowly. It's very simple. I learned this from Steve Cotter at a recent workshop, and you do this for maybe 20 or 30 seconds, gradually increasing the speed and the range of movement that you have in your ankles. Step that foot out and then just, you know, you're caving the foot inwards. Try not to twist the knee. If you have a lot of ankle stiffness, the tendency will be just to twist the knee in, but really try to focus on the ankle that's moving. You will get some rotation in the knee as well. And then you want to repeat that on the other side again, sort of 20-30 seconds worth of each direction, each movement. And then again stepping out and then letting the foot cave inwards. Really warming up, mobilising around all those ligaments around the ankle. So really what then you can do, really just, it's an additional warm up for the calves, is really just to stand up on your toes and then hinge back on your heels. So after you do maybe sort of 15 repetitions of total of those, then this is kind of a strange one. You sort of put your toe on the floor and you rotate. The big toe is stuck to the floor and just rotating the foot around. And then you can change direction. I'm not very good at this one, but it's quite nice because you get a nice stretch down the front of the foot and it really mobilises up around the toes as well. It's kind of nice to have shoes on though when you're doing this, or at least put it on a mat. Okay, so after you do that, maybe 10 or 15 circles each direction with the foot rotating. And then what I normally do is hinge back at the hips and then walk out into a plank position, down onto the floor. From here, hands underneath the shoulders, and I'll push up, keeping the hips on the floor. Elongating the spine. I'll look over one shoulder, look over the opposite side, you'll feel a real stretch at the front, down the side. Then reverse that movement, hips up in the air. And then straighten out the feet up on the tiptoes and then plant the heels down. Walking from side to side, march. Once again, down into that opposite position, yoga pose. And then hips up in the air. And then plant the heels down. And you can repeat this about 5 or 6 times. Really just mobilising in through the spine. Okay, so from here, then I reach out with the foot outside of the hand, keeping your hand on top of your toe. Then, okay, just keeping the toes planted to the floor. If you have any ankle tightness, this will mean that your foot will want to come off. I learned this from Kelly Starrett Mobility WOD, and I included it on a recent article about kettlebell swing corrections. Really good way to help open up the hips. Not only are you getting a stretch at this opposite side, but also in around the inner part of this leg. And this is sort of a standard. You can do this each side a few times just to get that loosened up a little bit. But then we want to advance that mobility within the hips. But this is good enough for most people. But for me now, this is kind of easy. So what I want to do then is keep my hand planted on top of my toes and then start pulling my knee outwards. So from this direction, hopefully you can see. So you're wanting to plant your hand on top of your foot and then come forward and then pull the knee outwards and round. So you're really getting more sort of opening up around the hip joint in around here, and also you're really activating the glutes because the glutes have to externally rotate the leg outwards. And it's kind of nice because you're rotating into the hip and round. And my clients hate me for this one, but it's so good that it's staying in the program. So then you can, rotate your torso towards the leg, like this, or the opposite, sort of pull away. So you're pulling the leg out and then you're pulling your torso away. Swapping sides again. Then keeping the hand planted on top of the foot, really sink in, sink forward, and then bring the knee out and pull it back. So you're really pulling using the glutes on the outside to pull the knee back and round, and then you can rotate, a few times, and then you can play around with the position of the torso so you can face away. This is also quite good for the Achilles. Because you can bring the knee right way forward, keeping the heel on the floor and lean in. So there's plenty you can do. So after I've done that, what I'll do usually is lie on my back, and then from here, usually hug the knees to the chest a few times. Really trying to restore full movement in that lower back, because it's so stiff sometimes that it doesn't seem to even curve very much. So now I want to really work on sort of the rotational aspect of your lower back. So keeping the knees at a 90-degree angle, then just keeping the shoulders stuck to the floor as much as you can. Let the knees fall to one side. And just breathe out nice and relaxed. And then the other side. You might hear a few cracks. Get a nice stretch down the side as well with this one. So maybe 10 rotations like this, side to side. And then I normally add in a static sort of stretch for the glutes and around the hips. So across one leg over, pull the knee up, and you'll feel, well, go the other side, you'll really feel it in around the outer part of the hip. Hold that for a few seconds until it eases off. Pull it in a little bit more, but then to advance it, push the knee away. And this brings the stretch in more to the side and the front part of the hip. If you're really locked up around the hips, this is a great one to do. Even, before or during your workout, so in between sets of squats, or hip thrusts, or whatever it is that you're having issues with hip mobility. I would say all things, but then definitely include this at the end of your workout. So then swap sides, same thing, pulling in, get comfortable there, let the stretch ease off. You can pull it in a little bit further and then just push the knee outwards. You can gradually do it, so it can be like, instead of a static hold, you can release, then push and release. It's a bit more dynamic that way, and so on. Okay, so once I'm in standing position, then I normally add in some bodyweight side bends. So one side. This is the boring part. The side bends are just so boring, but they're so useful. You can really feel tightness all the way down that side, right up into here, and we really want it to help lengthen sort of those muscles that get locked down, always stabilizing the spine. Because I think that's the issue, is that I'm always stabilizing the spine, therefore those muscles get locked down and produce pain. So then you go to the other side, maybe 12 reps on each side. After a body weight set, you might want to add in some side bends maybe at the end of your workout. You can use a weight then. I tend not to go any heavier at the minute than 12 kilograms. I've started with a 6, still at 12, because I still feel it the next day in my sides, so I'm really just working on the range of movement rather than loading it at the minute. And after I've done that, what I'll do then is a nice sort of hip circles. And these are typical of a general warm-up, but after you do your general sort of hip circles each direction, then I'll do what's called a figure of 8. So you can start by extending back and then coming around to one side into a flex position. Once you're in the middle, you're going straight back again into the extension, and then you're going rotating around to the other side and down. So back, round to the left, down to the centre, and then straight back, round to the right, and then to the centre and straight back. So that's one direction you can do. Maybe do that for about 30 seconds and then change direction. So you're starting off in the flex position, head over, and then you're going to rotate outward to one side and back, then down into the bent position and then rotate round. So you're really getting a stretch in around here, the lower part of the back, and I'm fairly stiff whenever I'm doing this, and what the goal is to, as you gradually warm up, then you're going to increase the pace and try to really get, because as you increase the pace and the force, you're going to allow a greater stretch. But obviously, coordination is an issue with these, so do take your time, get used to the movement and get used to the stretch, and then gradually build up the pace if you can. Another one, now this one is probably the hardest one for me to master. If you're very tight up in the front, so you tight hips, maybe you have tight hip flexors, this is a great one to really open up the front of the body, and one that's often a sort of, I suppose, movement that's really never really seen. In fact, I haven't seen it until I tried it. So again, coordination is going to be an issue if you haven't done it. And for people like me who coordination isn't that strong anyway, then it's even more difficult. So you're going to sort of extend backwards, arms sort of diagonal, and then say your left arm is going to try and touch the back of your right leg. Your legs can bend to a certain degree, but you're wanting to really stretch through that side. So if your right arm's up in the air, you're going to feel it to the right side, and then rotate the other side and feel it there. And you are aiming to try and touch your calf, by the way. Steve Cover taught me this one as well, and my flexibility, in fact, is so useless that I can only reach the top of my leg on the other side. So that's how tight everything is around midsection. So if you're having trouble with this, then just really do it very slowly. Because if you're not used to that stretch and that sort of explosive nature of these types of movements, then you will pull a muscle or something, or fall over. So really gradually reach up and just alternate from side to side. It probably looks so silly, but when you try it, you'll feel it, and you'll feel so much better afterwards. You can add in some rotation, so letting the arms just be a dead weight. Rotate from side to side. And again, you'll hear a few cracks. You can raise the arms up slightly higher, get a higher rotation in the spine, and then you can bring the leg up at the back, increase the rotation through the hips and then the lower back in the midsection. So basically that's it. Just wanted to show you what I do, and there's so many exercises out there to choose from. There's so many more that I learned, but these are the selection that I'm using right now to really work on things, and they're working for me. I'm sure that many of you will use your foam rollers, and any advice I could give you is to focus around your ankles again, your hips especially, front of your legs, and also lower back, and into in fact the thoracic spine as well. And if you can stick the pain, then work on your lats as well, because that's often an issue for people whenever they're squatting as well. So one thing I'll just say to finalise it is that although I'm not a big fan of the foam roller, what I am a big fan of is using a tennis ball beneath my foot and just rolling out all the fascia underneath the feet, because we often neglect them, and that's often a source of problems with mobility and flexibility and things throughout the body. So I'm not an expert on this, but I am learning as I go, so hopefully I'll be able to update this video along the way, and open to suggestions from yourselves. If you find any good drills that you can add on, then certainly put the link beneath the post in the comments section, and I'm sure people will be grateful for that additional information. So hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'll see you soon.